Welcome to Your Business, Your Life with Matt DiFrancesco, your personal financial technician. Whether you've had years of success in your business or just starting out, High Lift Financial can help you create a vision for your business, life, and family, and align these for generational wealth. So as they say, what happens in your life affects your business. And now, on to the show. Well, welcome to Your Business, Your Life with me, Matt DiFrancesco. And I had the honor a couple months ago to be on a podcast with my guest that I have today. And he has graciously decided to come on mine too. So I'm really excited. Jimmy Purdy, he's the host of the Gearbox Podcast. He owns a mechanical repair shop. So I'm excited to have him on because you know, as most people know, I do a lot of work with collision shop owners, but just yesterday, I actually got a call from a mechanical shop owner. And so as we were getting started, before we started recording, Jim and I were talking a little bit about some of the differences there. So I'm just excited. We're just going to have a conversation and just see where things lead. So, hey, Jimmy, welcome to Your Business, Your Life.
Thanks for having me on, man. Yeah, we had a great conversation the first time. I love what you said when we were talking is business, right? So it just doesn't matter, you know, like you spend a lot of time, I spent a lot of time in the early years trying to find a automotive repair specific business coach, right? And sure, it helps, but anything helps at that point, right? Like any coaching helps, but you start getting sucked into this little niche and then you're like, how come I'm stuck at this, you know, at these bottlenecks and these different, and then you start kind of looking outside and looking at different industries and you're like, oh, your GP margins are the same. Oh, you run leadership meetings like that, and it's like, oh, wait a second, this is like all the same, and then you realize like, oh, business is business, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's so true. It was interesting. So we were talking, I was telling you a little bit about this situation I ran into with this guy. He called me and he made the comment. He goes, I don't understand why collision shop owners, they're driving around in Porsches and Mercedes and all of our shops are closing, which I will tell you, it's not true. Okay, about the collision industry. I think business is business. And we were talking a little bit about where the difference was. And I think I want you to kind of reiterate what you were telling me. And because I think it really comes down to what we were talking about earlier. A lot of it's mindset. And we run across this in the collision industry too. So kind of go into what you were talking about there.
Yeah, it's, you know, and I don't know everything, and it's a learning, it's learning for me, right? But I think
Right.
that's what it is. If you don't have a learning mindset, you're just not going to evolve, right? And it's like
Right.
everyone's cut out to be a parent, right? Like biologically, like we can all be parents.
Yep.
Doesn't mean we all should be parents though, right? And it's the same with like being a business
Yeah.
owner. Like they say you're either a leader or not a leader. It's like, no, we're all born with the capability, but it's just the fact of, are you willing to every single day have to learn something new, have to do something different, have to shift what your focus and all that kind of, how you were going to deal with your people. And there is a lot of nuances in that aspect of trying to keep up. And I think that's where it's lost. And a lot of guys will look around and say, how come, man, how come that guy's doing so well and I'm not? Like, why are you focused on what they're doing anyway? Like, step number
Right.
one, focus on you.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth?
And that's what you have to do. If you're not focused on your own growth and you're just keeping up with the Joneses, then you're always trying to follow someone. And it goes back to like business coaching too. If you're
Mhm.
always just with one coach or with one specific industry, you're just going to keep using that template over and over and over. Meanwhile, the entire world is bypassed. Look at AI. Look at all
Yeah.
these, you know, technologies is going so far beyond that if you're stuck in a rut just doing the same thing day over and over and over, that makes you a great technician. That makes you a great worker, right? Like that's what we want. But as far as being the owner, you're just not going to make it. You're not going to keep up. And I
Yeah.
think that's where a lot of people get lost. Like, oh, maybe I need to switch industries now. Maybe I'll get into the collision. And I see it all the time with the mechanical shops, right? They see that what you just said. Oh, there's an auto body shop, and that guy's doing so much better than me. Maybe I need to jump into the auto body instead of. It's like, no, just do what you're doing better.
Yeah, exactly. You know what the collision guys say? Well, we want to get into mechanical repair because they can get
Yeah.
the full labor rate. We can't, so there's always something that's going on there. But I think a lot of it, to your point, is about mindset. And, it's interesting as I work with business owners and collision shop in general, I saw a lot of parallels. My core business is financial services and financial advisors. My coach always says it's the only part-time job that you can make 6 and 7 figures at and think you're a complete failure. And the reason is because we've got scarcity mentality, and we just, and so we look at the things that are going wrong instead of the things that are going right. And I see this all over. I mean, it was funny. I was talking to a group of owners that we meet once a month, and they were talking about, managing customer expectations. The one thing in mechanical repair is my transmission needs fixed. I got to write the check for it. While in the collision industry, you got this little insurance thing that comes out, but the insurance company doesn't want to pay. So how do you manage like short pays, things like that? And I told him, I said, you guys just need to learn how to sell.
Absolutely.
Just basic sales. And so, and I think that's business owners in general. We tend to sometimes think, I'm going to do this business and the business is going to flow in, and we forget about the work that we need to do.
That's a great point. And to kind of piggyback off of that, I've had service advisors I've hired from the collision industry, and I assume, well, it's all automotive and you're on the phone. Well, the majority of their time was just dealing with the insurance adjusters.
Yeah.
Not dealing with the live public.
Right.
That's a different beast, and there is no upselling, right? And I hate calling it upselling, but just for lack of better terms, that's what it is, right? The vehicle comes in and has a major concern, right? Water pump's leaking, right? Something like that. Whether it has insurance or coverage or not, it doesn't matter. They need to fix their car, and they can deal with their insurance on the back end. We do plenty of insurance claims, right? That's like extended warranty or whatever it is.
Exactly.
But the problem is you need your vehicle today. You don't want to be put through so you can just deal with that on the back end. Okay, the water pump's leaking, but we're also going to do an inspection on the rest of the vehicle. Hey, your brakes are down at 2 millimeters. Your shocks are leaking. Valve cover gasket's leaking, right? Those are all upsells, right? That's for lack of better terms. Now, if I decide to ignore that stuff, now I'm being incompetent, right? So it's such a black or white, right? There's no gray area. Like I have to inform the customer of what's going on with their vehicle, whether it's a safety concern or not, right?
Oh, exactly.
You have to, but you have to present it in a way that makes them feel comfortable with you actually doing the work. Otherwise, it's like, what's the benefit, right? There has to be a benefit for me doing this no cost inspection. Now you could charge for the inspection, and that's something we go back and forth with in the mechanical industry.
I'm sure.
But if you have good sales skills, you can then front that cost for a free inspection, right? Because your sales team is going to be able to execute that sale. Now, when I say it like that, it sounds like this big evil, sales force that we're going to come in, but it's like it's not, because at the end of the day, they say yes or they say no. And the main thing is we want the vehicle to leave safe and like new condition. That's the goal, right? We're not like selling you something you don't need. We take pictures, we do videos, take you out to the car. Look, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, this is bad. And then here, let me show you what a good one's supposed to be. Do you want to fix this? Right. But there's a lot of nuances to that sales process to ensure, like, hey, and just so you know, when we do it, it's 3 or 36,000 mile nationwide warranty. We're going to wash your car. We can give you a free Lyft ride home. We can get you a rental. Like, we're going to take care of you while the vehicle's here. Right. And that's all part of the upsell. I feel like it's such a negative connotation in the automotive industry to say you're going to upsell repairs on a vehicle.
Because I completely agree. Yeah.
It like comes from the dealer world, right? Like you sell them a car and then you're going to upsell the extended warranty. And it's like, oh no, I read on, I watched that ABC 2020, and it's such a negative thing. And I think when the collision side, they've just completely avoided that, right? They come in, they fix exactly what the car needs, and they let the car leave just like that, because they don't want to be that negative stigma of like, well, I'm not going to sell them something. I noticed a scratch on the rear bumper, but I'm not going to say anything about that because I don't want to like feel like I'm selling them things they don't need.
Right. Well, and I'll tell you what, but that's changing too, because there's so much liability now. And it's the same thing in the collision world as it is in the mechanical world. If you're not following OEM procedures, okay, you're actually putting the customer at risk.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You're putting them at risk.
Them and anybody else on the road.
Exactly. And so I think it's really important we keep that in mind. And, it was interesting. I was just meeting with a prospect before this, and his one big thing was fees. He was talking about my fees, my fees. And I mean, I'm not cheap. I mean, I don't think I'm extraordinarily expensive, but I'm not cheap. But I know that the service that I'm providing, like, we're going to always give you clarity, and we're going to help you to design a vision for what your post business life looks like, and we're going to handhold you through the whole process, and we're going to do all this stuff. And he asked me, he came flat out. He goes, "Was your fee negotiable?" I said, "No." And I think we need to take on that mindset that if we really want to do repairs properly, okay, then let's not apologize for it. And let's just say, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, no, you need this stuff done because we don't want this car to leave this shop. Something else could be a problem, endanger you, your family, or other drivers on the road.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to say, if the customer is not willing to do that, well, I'll send you to another shop.
And you, well, you know what your value is, right?
Yeah,
You
right.
understand. You've seen what you can do, and so you base your price on what you're giving based on the value of what you've provided in the past.
Correct.
Do you feel like maybe some of these shop owners are not inexperienced, but maybe they're just not financially literate enough to run the numbers to know what they should be charging? And it goes back to keeping up with the Joneses, what I brought up, right? And so they
Yes.
just call around and they ask everybody in their neighborhood what their hourly rate is, and they pick something that's maybe $2 an hour less, right?
Right, right.
Just picking a number out of the hat and making sure they're a little bit less than anybody else,
Yep.
with absolutely no idea what it actually takes to run their business per hour, what their GP per hour is, what they need to be. They hired a tech. The tech asked for a certain amount. They gave it to them. They have no idea if they're making a profit on it. And they just wait
Mhm.
till the end of the month. Well, probably the end of the year, but hopefully the end of the month to see if there's any money in the account. And then so when someone comes in and negotiate, they just feel like, well, I guess I probably could. The main important thing is that I make this sale, right? Because that's all
Yes.
they just need the cash flow. I'm running out of money. And then that vicious cycle comes in. And I'm sure you've probably seen it, right? Where it's
Right.
like, well, now I'm running out of cash flow, so I'll just start lowering my prices to keep the cash flow coming in. But all that's really doing is just everything's going negative.
Right, because your costs stay the same.
Yes.
Your costs are going to stay, and they're going to go up. Your costs are going to go up. So we have to start thinking about that. I think, this was interesting. I had a conversation with one of my clients. This was about a year or so ago. We were having lunch, and he was talking about getting into the industry. And he said, at the time he was looking at studying collision repair or studying HVAC. And his parents were like, why do you want to be a grease monkey? And he told me, he said, for years and years and years, that is stuck in his head. And I think a lot of automotive professionals have a identity problem thinking of themselves as grease monkeys instead of thinking of themselves as business owners and highly trained technicians. Would you agree with that? Or, I mean, what do you?
100%. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. We've said it. That is the stigma of the industry that just cripples people. It just cripples their mentality. There's a lot of great technicians out there, and the industry's changing.
Yeah.
But the industry's changing because of these large companies coming in and running shops very cleanly, very sophisticated, and focusing on the customer experience. Not. I mean, you got to fix the car. Like,
Yeah.
if you think opening a shop is a good idea because you can fix anything under the sun, you should probably just go get a job.
Yeah.
Right. And then that was a huge coming to Jesus for me, right? It's like I could fix anything but a business, right? It's like, so if you want to be a business owner, you got to learn how to run a business, not fix cars, right? And most people can fix cars. You're not anything special. And the 2% of vehicles out there that are these extremely stubborn diagnoses they're really hard to figure out, it's 2%. Like
Yeah.
you can't run your business. And there's probably some guys out there that maybe listen and they're like, oh, that's how I run my whole business. Yeah, it's probably you and like one other guy.
Right.
That's and not to insult you, but that's not a business. It's a hobby, right? That you make money with, and that's fine. And that's like I've had that conversation with myself. It's like maybe I should just build a shop at home, and I could just work by myself, and like bring in a helper once a week to just like help move stuff around, right? And there's
Right.
nothing wrong with that, right?
No.
I'd probably make maybe as much money, if not maybe a little more. I don't know. It'd all be cash. It'd be no taxes. Like you avoid all that nonsense, right?
Right.
But my goal is to build more of an empire, right? And I want to have a sustainable business, and I want to have 20, 30 employees, and like provide them with a great, financial future and keep them
Mhm.
elevated in the industry, which goes back to your point about not being a grease monkey. I want to build one of those empires where technicians change their mind. They come in and they go, oh, I had no idea, like working in an auto shop, I stay clean all day, right?
Yeah.
And I go home
Exactly.
clean. And it's like, and that's what I want to build. So it eliminates that, and every single person that has that mindset in this industry helps promote that new look.
Yeah. Oh, that's so true. That is so true. And I think that, again, it all comes down to mindset and how we view ourselves. And again, do we want to view ourselves as professionals? Okay. I mean, I think about it like, and again, I use my industry as an example. I mean, so I'm helping clients not just to maximize returns, but I do their financial planning. I help them with tax planning, and I help them with their estate planning. And again, I'm bringing in their CPA, their attorney, and doing all this stuff. But then, shouldn't I be charging at least, if not more, than what the attorney or the CPA is charging? Right now, think about any kind of automotive repair. Like, I can't do that stuff, especially and nowadays, especially with technology, you have to have a very specialized skill. So, that's that sets you above any of your customers, and you can charge a premium for that because you're as much a professional as the doctor and the dentist and the CPA and the attorney.
And the crazy thing is, when you start out, you take anybody, right? Just
right.
And it's like and
fog a mirror, baby.
Oh man, and you're hiring, but you do the same thing with your clients, right? The same exact like way you hire people is the same way you hire clients. You have no client acquisition. You don't know what it is, what your client avatar needs to be or your customer avatar needs to be. So you really don't know what your employees are supposed to be. You just need someone to show up and answer the phone or do whatever. And so that mindset's the same. And so you don't vet your customers. And so before you know it, they're dictating the price, they're dictating the process, they're bringing in their own parts, they're doing whatever they want, they're showing up when they want, they're canceling appointments like it's no big deal.
Yeah.
And the more you start charging, you start losing customers, and it's really scary. And you're like, oh my God, no, this is all my cash flow. Like, but then you start getting these higher end GP percentages jobs, and you're like, wait a second, there's more money going in the bank, but I have less sales. And then you start seeing the pattern, and then you're like, and that for me, it was like diving in 100%, right? Like put the toe in the water, start firing some clients. That's what we call it in the industry.
That's what we call it too. Yeah, that's what we do. Yeah, that's exactly what we call it. Yeah, yeah.
You start firing some, and all of a sudden you start making more money with less work, and you're like, oh, I like this.
Exactly, and that's the kind of model we all want in a business. Okay. We want to have the best customers who are going to pay us what we're worth, and we get the most GP from. And, it's not about numbers anymore. It's got to be about quality of customers and profitability.
Yeah. You got to vet them. It's like, is this someone what's the lifetime cost of that customer? Right. And a lot of, I see it all the time, is they get so obliterated by a review, and they're so like, oh my God, I got this 1-star review. And I've been there, like we've all been there.
Yeah.
And it's just not that big of a deal. But it's the same thing when you lose a customer, and then you're like, oh man, I lost the customer. And it's an emotional thought instead of being like factual of like, okay, this person's came in twice in the last 3 years and spent less than $600. And now I'm sitting here stressed that they told me they're never coming back.
Right.
When in reality, you say, "Oh, thank God they're not coming back."
Isn't that the truth? Yeah.
You should have fired them the second time they came in. And same with employees, right?
Right.
It's like, oh, you get this. Oh my God, now what am I going to do? And then a month later, you hired somebody else that's doing twice the work for the same amount of money, and you're like, man, I should have hired this guy 2 years ago. And it's the same thought, right? It's the same pattern of just like being, what do you call it? The survival mentality, or like operating out of a sense of fear, instead of looking at look at the facts, look at the numbers. And it's hard. I mean, I can't sit here and say I do it and I'm like completely immune to emotional thought processes, right? But it happens, right? But you see after the years, you see, oh man, I was making a real emotional decision instead of taking a step back and looking at the lifetime value of the customer. When someone comes in and they spend $1,200 to $1,500 every year maintaining their vehicle, in the next 10 years, right? That's a $20,000, $10,000, $20,000 client.
Right.
You better take care of that person. But if you're too busy worrying about this other person that comes in every other year spending $600, you're not giving that one the attention that they deserve. And now you're going to lose the real customer, right? And it's always the squeaky wheels that take all your attention, right?
That's the truth.
The 80-20 rule, right? 80% of your time for 20% of your profit.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. And it's funny. I was doing an evaluation even on my business, and it's the same thing. The top 20% is generating 80% of the revenue. But then I started looking at who was the most demanding, and it was all the lower 80%.
Yes.
Is how it
Yeah.
works. And so,
Yeah.
again, managing that. I guess a question that kind of popped up as you were talking is how are you identifying the right customers now?
Oh, that's a
Now that you've
great
kind of
question.
learned this.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's ever evolving, and so it's a client avatar, right? It's the same.
Yeah.
I think the same principle that all other businesses go through, trying to
Mhm.
identify what it is you're looking for. Um, and there's an age range and there's a demographic,
Okay.
and it's just tough because every year it seems to kind of sway one way or another. I typically don't want anybody. I'm not going to target anybody that's like in their early 20s, right?
Yeah.
Late 20s, they're getting a little more responsible. 30s, so typically 30 or older. Somewhere around 60, 65. As they age out, my client acquisition cost is like $65, right, on
Okay.
average.
Okay.
Right. So every time the phone rings, we got to capture that lead. So you take your marketing budget, you divide it by how many new customers each month, and boom, there's your number. It's very,
Right.
right,
Right.
really easy math.
Yeah.
And so at that point, do I want to spend that money pulling in someone that's getting little later in their age, right? When I can pull someone in their early 40s and capture them for the next 20 years, and that
Yeah.
lifetime customer spends a lot higher. So that's what I mean. It sounds a little uh negative in that connotation. So
No, no,
so
no,
you
but
got to
I
put an age, you got
understand.
to put a age limit on it. And
Yeah.
we have a lot of technology in the shop. We have everything's text and email, and we have a lot of rewards programs, and it requires using an iPhone to stay on track. So we want to get a younger demographic as well that's really good with electronics. Does that
Right.
mean that someone's grandma out there might be better than their teenager on iPhone? Sure. So I can't just like specifically target a one, but I would say in that age range of like 35 to about 60 is a good spot.
That makes
And
sense.
then
Yeah.
yeah, and then I'm looking for multiple car households. I'm looking for people that don't buy a new car, don't lease a new car. So there's all those things that you think about. Who's keeping their car on the road the longest?
Okay.
You know,
Oh.
and so a lot of people buy new cars every couple of years, and they're always
Mhm.
going back to the dealer. And but that goes back to you can't just stick in that rut because some people don't want these new cars now because now we're going to EVs,
Right.
right? So someone in the last 10 years, they might have had a pattern of buying a new car every 3 years. Well, now all of a sudden they're saying EVs only, and they're starting to get rid of a lot of the ICE vehicles. Well,
Yeah.
now this person's thinking, well, shoot, I don't want to do that. And this might be the last ICE vehicle that I ever own. It's time for me to maintain it. Now there's my opportunity to capture that client. So,
Right.
I mean, it's just constantly evolving and like thinking about that kind of stuff. And not, like I said, when we started this whole thing, it was like, I can't just keep doing the same thing, thinking outside the box of like who it is I'm targeting, what I'm looking for. It used to be only domestic, and it's like, well, I can't do that because everyone that's got a domestic, they probably have a Euro, right?
Right.
There's so much cross pollination. You probably remember back in the 70s is like if you bought a Toyota or a Honda, you were the
Oh,
evil.
oh, God. Yes.
There's a
Yeah.
Toyota in your driveway. How
Uh-huh.
dare you? And
Oh,
it's not
yeah.
like that anymore.
No, no. I actually sold welding alloys. This was back in the early 90s. We basically sold them to maintenance departments, but there was a guy I worked with. He had the Lordstown GM plant. All
Oh,
right, Lordstown, Ohio, and he drove a Toyota truck, and they had a separate lot that was like a mile away that he had to park in. It was crazy.
talk
It
about
was crazy.
segregation, huh?
Oh yeah, big time, big time. But I tell you something, and what I like, Jimmy, about the way you're talking is you sound like an owner that spends a lot of time working on the business, not so much in the business, but on the business. And this is something that I talk to owners about all the time because I think too many of them get wrapped up in the day to day of what's going on there, and they don't spend enough time. I was talking about this in my talk at the conference in New Jersey this past weekend. The more you grow, the more time you've really got to spend working on the business, not in the business.
Yeah. I think
So,
it's something that's used so much. It's just
mhm.
really, I think I don't want to say it's overused, but it does come to a point where it kind of sounds overused. A lot of people just don't know what that means.
Yeah, true.
And I mean, I still don't really do, and I blur the lines a lot. I'm not at the point where I'm at like the tens of millions, right? And I feel like that's a real breakthrough point. I know my next breakthrough is the 3 million a year in sales. That's
Right.
what's coming up on the horizon. So I'm anticipating that, and I'm trying to set up processes and systems now that's going to help through that. But it's very, very difficult to put those in position now because I don't need them now, if that makes any sense. I'm still in the operator phase where I'm still out on the floor.
Yeah.
I'm still helping the team. I'm still looking at diagnoses. I'm still double checking some work. I'm still doing it. So I'm still in the day to day grind in a
Oh yeah.
sense, but my vision or my what I spend my a lot of time is what we're talking about. Like
Yeah.
that's where I'm trying to learn and trying to gain. I know how to be a technician, so that's easy. And it almost becomes too easy to the point where I get frustrated. I'll get up and walk away just to go fix a car because I know how to do that. And I don't know how to set up a marketing strategy, right? Like
Right.
so
Right. Yes,
I gotta
exactly.
lock myself down. It's like I'm figuring this out, right? Use Chat GPT or whatever I gotta do to figure it out.
Yeah.
But I listen to enough stuff and enough podcasts, and I try to educate myself enough that I know I've felt the 1 million breakthrough, and I know the struggles I had of trying to set up the systems and the processes on the back end, right?
Yeah.
Now I see the problems. Okay, now I got to do this, put that fire out, put that fire out, put that fire. So now I'm trying to set up a fire retardant system. I don't know if you want to put
Mhm.
it that way. So when I hit the $3 million mark, all those processes are boom, they just blend right in. And I don't know if I'm putting the cart in front of the horse. I have no idea, right?
No,
Because
I
I've
think
never
you're
been there before.
no, and I'm going to tell you, you're right on track because you have to. It's kind of like hiring people. You've got to hire people before you need them. You have to. All right, because to truly scale, it's about the who's, not the hows. Okay. And so, like,
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the same boat that you are. I'm looking to go to the next level. And I'm like, okay, I know I need these who's. All right. I'm not quite in a financial position that I'd like to be in to do this, but I'm going to have to bite the bullet because I'm not going to be able to scale until I do that.
Mm,
Does that make sense?
it does. It's a
And that takes a lot of strategic thinking.
yeah.
So now I'm on the tactical end, but I'm trying to spend more and more time, my tactical time, incorporating my team so that they can learn, they can take the 30 years of knowledge that's up here and start to learn it.
Yeah, that's when you say it, it just sounds so like common sense, right?
Yeah.
Because if you look at it in any other way, you can't like I couldn't provide a service on a vehicle unless I have the tool.
Right.
So what am I going to do? Am I going to wait till the parking lot's full of cars that need an AC service before I buy an AC machine?
Right.
No, I got to buy the AC machine first. And not to say people are tools, but I mean
Yeah.
that's
I know what you're
basically what it
saying.
is, right?
I know exactly what you're
But for
saying.
a
Yeah.
long time, like there's a lot of business coaching out there that tells you don't hire someone until you have 1.5 to 2 times the amount of work for them, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't want them to come in and have nothing to do because that's a loss. It's a loss, and then you're trying to build it on the back end. And I understood that to a degree, right? Where it's like, okay, so I need to wait till I'm struggling and I'm buried so deep that I have enough work to bring someone in to do twice the capability that I can.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like reverse engineering. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I like the fact of overstaffing and building into it. That way that you keep your control, your quality control process, and it costs money, sure,
Right.
but I feel like that's a more sustainable way.
I agree. And I think the other thing is anytime you find a good person, you need to grab them as soon as possible because good people are really hard to find.
Yeah, that's sad. That's
It is
unfortunate.
sad, but I mean, that's where I mean, I've got right now, I've got an ops manager who's an absolute rock star. And it was like, I wasn't ready for that position, but I'm like, I got to grab her now.
Yeah, the universe seems to throw it at you before you think you're ready anyway.
Yeah, but what you just said before you think you're ready.
Yeah.
Okay. But a lot of times we are ready. We just don't, we're being very cautious out there because it's our cash flow and it's our living and it's our business. And so we're being very protective of it. But, until we were talking about the lower 80%. So I'm looking for a servicing advisor who's going to take over that 80%. And my coach actually asked me a question. He said, so how much new business do you think you could bring in if they're taking all this off your plate? And I ran some numbers and I said I could do this number of clients, bring in these clients. And he said, okay, what's average revenue? And I said, well, average revenue would be this. And he's running the math. He goes, you're looking at half to $250,000 in revenue. But I can't get it until I bring that guy in.
Yeah.
So I got to do it before I even have it to generate it. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes perfect sense. And
Yeah.
I think that's what's missing in the groups that I associate with or I talk with, right? Like in auto shop, and there's just in the mechanical side, there's no math like that. There's no
Yeah.
projecting, right? It's just day to day, what's in the bank now,
Hmm.
and not wanting to sacrifice that for the greater good, or even knowing how to project those numbers and say, okay, what is it going to cost to bring this person in? And
Hmm.
they get so wrapped up on, well, this guy wants $52 an hour, and I'm not willing to do that because I only get paid $50 an hour. So I'm not
Yeah.
bringing someone to get paid $2 more. Like, what are you even talking about right now? Like, you
Right.
are what? Like, do you realize if that guy's an absolute rock star for $52 an hour, your loaded cost is probably closer to 60, but
Yeah.
his GP per hour after hanging parts is probably going to be 280 an
Yeah.
hour in
Uh-huh.
GP? Like, you can't afford not to hire him, right? Like, and that's
Right.
one of the
Yeah.
lessons I learned from one of my early coaches is like, I was in that place and I had that mindset, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, man, I've never hired someone for that kind of money. That's a lot of
Exactly.
money,
Oh, I
right?
know.
It's
Oh,
$100,000,
exactly.
$100,000 a year.
Hmm.
And it's like, and this was 6 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Uh, so it was decent money then. I mean, but
Yeah.
still, it's like, then you do the math, right? And you have someone kind of break it down to you, and you're like, oh, I see. But you're so concerned that you're just going to be spending this money and it's going to be a lost fund, right? Like
Right.
you're just spending $50 an hour for nothing. It's like, no, you're spending $50 an hour to make $280 in gross profit an hour. That's
That's the way you got to look at it.
hopefully it's at about a 60% margin. So that put how much does that put at the bottom line at the end of the year, right? It's a quarter
Uh-huh.
million dollars. Like it's like, why are you waiting?
Yeah, I
It's
know.
literally be in the
Exactly.
shop.
Exactly. Yeah. But most people just don't think that way. Most business owners don't even think
Oh, it's
that
really
way.
hard. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
unless you just don't see that unless you've either been through it or you have someone coach you and guide you through it.
I think that's a key thing. Yeah, it's got to be one or the other. And I think the business owners I see that are successful in this usually do have some type of coach. It's like, have you thought about it this way, and kind of run through the numbers. I think that's one of the benefits of having some type of coach or somebody that's kind of holding your hand through the process because we're not in the battle. Like in my business, I'm in the battle, all right. And there's the cannons and the guns and everything's going off, and the planes are dropping bombs above me, but my coach is outside of that. He's like in the central command, looking at everything through satellites, but he's not in the battle, so he can take the emotion out of it and say, okay, you need to do this, all right. And I think every business owner needs somebody like that to help, that's outside of the fray and say, look, I know you're in the battle. Did you think about looking at it this way?
Yeah, it's, the emotions, right? Is I think
Yeah.
where you nailed it. Unless you have split personality and you can look at yourself objectively, but man, that's a hard thing to do.
Oh,
But
yeah.
is it? But it's like goes back to the main thing you said, like mindset. That's the mindset. It's the emotions, right? And it's constantly making decisions based out of emotion. In the scenario of hiring a tech, and it doesn't matter if it's automotive or what, everyone needs a tech, right? And
Right.
I'm sure you've read the E-Myth, and everyone's read
Oh,
the
yeah.
E-Myth,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yep.
So the technician that you need to run your business is either you, which you need to, if you want to scale, you have to remove yourself from that role,
Correct.
right? But if you're hiring that technician and you're putting that kind of money into him, you need to, you're going to become friends with him
Yeah.
or her, right? Like you're going to build a culture, and you're going to be like, okay, this is, and you start making excuses,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
and without even knowing it, your
Yeah.
emotions get into it, and you're like, it's okay. Well, they stubbed their toe today, so that's why they've been. Oh, and I know they're having problems with his wife, so that's why he was late today. And it's like, and then you start looking at the numbers, and like, oh man, he's only been putting like 5 or 6 hours a day in, but I know he's had a rough month, so maybe next month it's going to get better, right? And you
Right.
just justify this stuff.
Hmm.
And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't, I mean, I think you're not human if you don't do that.
Oh, right. Right. No, no, no. I agree with you.
But
Yeah.
to have a
Yeah.
coach step back and say, "Hey, hold on a second, your payroll costs are now getting to be about 48% of your overhead. What's going on here? Like that
Yeah.
number needs to be 35 or 40% of your overall, and it's starting to creep up."
Yep.
And it's like, and then you start making the excuses, and you need someone to hold you accountable. No, 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 no. You pay him 8 hours a day, so
Mhm.
the expectation is that he should give you 8 hours of work a day, right? That's like
Right.
that's not an unreasonable expectation.
No, not at all.
And just that conversation, right? That 20 or 30 seconds, whatever that was,
Yeah.
like that can project you into a completely different business. It's crazy.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh no, you're exactly right. And I think that's again, I think we have a responsibility to mentor, but the employee also has a responsibility to be accountable.
Oh yeah. Do you think with coaching, like that is what feels like someone's not getting value, right? Like someone
Yeah.
just you have this coaching call and it goes on for 30 minutes, maybe it goes on for an hour, right? And you
Right.
guys are chatting, and all of a sudden it's like there's just like two or three lines, just like what I said there, where it's just like all of a sudden like, oh, I didn't know that my payroll percentage is supposed to be like that, or I guess I could hold them accountable, and you just have someone just plant that seed in your brain that then
Right.
changes your business. But then they look at the end of the month, they're like, man, I'm paying this guy $2,500 a month for his mentoring, and he only gave me like one or two tips, right? And
Yeah.
they don't see the value of those one or two tips and how much it can change your business.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Again, where's the ROI on it? And again, like you said, yeah, maybe you paid him 2,500 bucks a month, but he helped you to create $250,000 more GP.
Yeah,
That's a pretty good return on investment.
for just one or two small ideas, right?
Exactly.
Like, well, I could have thought of that. It's like, but you didn't,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
That's
that's why you have the coach.
That's right. That's exactly right. And I think that's a mistake that a lot of people make, and I think a lot of business owners make, is that they look at the checkbook, they look at this, and they don't think about nuggets that he's given me. How much has that produced for me in GP?
Yeah.
You know,
Unless you want to do it the hard way and just listen to podcasts for 4 hours a day. But I've come to the realization with a lot of that for myself, because I do a lot of that. When I'm in the gym in the morning, on the
I,
drive home, I'm always listening to leadership stuff, business stuff. My latest one is Layla Hormazi. I don't know if you
oh
know her.
no, I'm not familiar with it.
Alex Hormazi's wife. Man,
Okay,
she's a freaking rock star. I love listening to her. She's got some
really?
killer stuff that a little podcast she's got. Alex Hormazi?
Yeah, I've heard that
Yeah,
name.
so
Yeah.
yeah, so it's his wife. She's got it dialed. I'm really impressed with her mindset and all that. But I've come to the realization, especially with hers, and that's why I brought it up, is that she's in a completely different stratosphere, right? She's talking about a $100 million business, $100 million company that she runs, and
Right.
hopefully gain it to be $1 billion. And so there's a lot of these things where I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. Oh, I should do that. But then I'm realizing the business is just not there. So a lot of that stuff just
Mhm.
is not going to translate. And so what my
Yeah.
point is sometimes you need a coach that can say, where are you specifically? Where's your sales at now? Where have you been? Where do you want to go? That's really
I
important.
think that's a huge question. All right. Yeah, that's a huge question.
Like, what is it you're trying to do? But then to tell you, hey, so you're going to have a breakthrough point, or you're going to have a bottleneck here. And then you can even bring up, hey, so I heard this really cool thing about, on this podcast I was listening to, that maybe I should start doing one-on-one meetings with all my employees, once a week or once a month. They're like, it's like, oh, how many employees you got? Well, 6. And you see them every day? You're on the floor? Yeah. So why are you going to pull them into your office for a 20-minute meeting once? You're like, that doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. You're like, you're shoulder to shoulder, everyone. Just go walk up and talk to them for 30 seconds a week. You don't need to make a meeting out of it and pull them off of the production line and all stuff. So my point is sometimes you'll see these really cool little things, and I do anyway. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm gonna start doing that in my business. And then I realize that's not like for me though. Like, and
Yeah.
I can do that in another way, in a more creative way that doesn't stop production. So listening to
Mm.
stuff is great, but like it doesn't always apply directly to your personal business.
Oh, of course, and that's
Yeah.
why I think again, it's got to be. It's kind of what you said, Jimmy. It's a combination. You have all that stuff where you're getting ideas, but then your coach can kind of help you. Here's how it applies to you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where the money is at.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
that's what you pay for. Is like how much of your time you're gonna waste like doing these systems or putting these SOPs together, right?
All right.
And I mean, ChatGPT helps. You can do a lot of SOPs pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But say you're a $2 million business, right? Your
Mhm.
revenue is 2 million. What is that? $700 an hour. If the owner's there 40 hours a week,
Yeah.
it's like your time is worth $700 an hour.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what do you want to do with that hour? Do you want to spend that hour trying some new fancy thing that's not going to project you anywhere, or do you want to spend $2,000 a month, right, to have a coach direct that $700 an hour to then make that maybe $1,400 an hour because he's going to double your revenue the next
Right.
year.
Right.
I mean, And it goes back to just like, if you don't run the numbers, like you don't see it that way. You're just constantly, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. We're always like, as business owners, how do I fix this problem as cheaply as possible?
Well, yeah, of
That's
course.
my
Yeah.
goal, right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
if something happens, there's a fire, something breaks or something happens, like my goal is, and I don't know if it's just me, but I'm like, I need to fix this as absolutely cheaply as possible.
Oh, I think that's all of us. I mean,
Like
and
it's what drives us, right? It's like,
that's
how do I
right.
fix this much cheaper than anybody else can help me fix it for, you know?
Right, right. But and there's nothing wrong with that, but sometimes it's going to cost you money to do it, do
Oh
it the right
man.
way, you know?
It's just like any other trades out there. And you brought up like you wouldn't want to service your own vehicle, so you take it to professional. I
Right.
mean, and I'm a technician by trade, so I mean I can wire an electrical panel, I can put HVAC in, I can put a water heater, and I can do plumbing. Like I've done all the trades through high school.
Right.
Like I'm a hands-on guy. I've
Yeah.
learned to do that. But I've also learned over the years is what you said was so true. Hire a professional. Like I don't do electrical anymore. I don't do drywall anymore. Like I don't do these things day to day anymore. And
Right.
so I am probably not in tune with all the latest equipment or tools or codes or whatever's going
Right.
on in the world. So even though, yeah, I can figure it out, I should probably just hire a professional. I'm dealing with this right now. So I got a front gate at our house for our driveway. And
Okay.
I wanted to turn it from a swing gate into a roller gate.
All
And
right.
so I must have spent, I spent at least a week every night, I mean, throughout the day, learning how to do the roller, how to put the V channel in, the
Mhm.
cantilever style, the different motors that are out there, like the good warranty, looking on reviews. I spent so much time researching this because I was getting ready to build a front gate. And
Right.
I finally got to the point, and it's like that notion hit me. I'm like, I should just like figure out how much it would be to have someone professionally install one.
Yeah.
You know, like what is that going to cost? And then
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about it. If something breaks, I can just call him and he comes and fixes it. And it's
Exactly.
like I had that realization. I'm like, I am like what I tell my customers when they come into the shop, not to DIY it and do it and like have us finish. I'm like, I kind of sold myself on having somebody else come and do it, right? It's like just hire a professional that does it every day. They know all the
Right.
stuff, man, and they're just gonna
Well,
fix it.
exactly. What did you say? Your time's worth $700 an hour.
Yeah, and it was another thought in my head. I'm like, what am I doing right now? This is I
I
would have had
know.
it done by now.
Oh God. I mean, I did. That's like plumbing. I mean, I could do basic plumbing, but my sink's leaking. I'm going to spend all Saturday afternoon under there. And I figure, my time's worth, seven, eight, $700 an hour. What the heck? I pay a plumber, pay him $150 an hour, and he's probably got it done in 20 minutes.
Yeah. And if there's a problem, you call him back and he's like, you take care of it.
Exactly. Exactly.
You don't have to worry about it.
Oh yeah. Oh
I mean,
yeah.
it's fun. I like my problem is I like learning new things, and that's part of it, like something new and interesting and
If you
different.
want to
But
do
it's
it as
like,
a hobby, that's fine.
but there's so many things for the business that I could be learning, right? And
Yes.
that's where I get mentally tapped. And I don't know if anybody else says that too, but you just feel like you kind of at a point like I don't really know what to do next. Like you start when you go from working in the business to working on the business. It's like,
Right.
so what do I do now? So I looked at the numbers. I kind of put some marketing together. I listened to some podcasts, and so now, well, I guess I just wait and see what the numbers end up being at the end of the month, right?
Yeah. Right.
And you run out of things to do. It's like I don't know what I should be doing now. It's like, well, maybe setting up, check-ins, maybe finding out your employees what they like to do, maybe find out what their wife likes to go to, maybe
Yeah.
getting them gift. Like there's just so many things, but you just kind of ignore that. And then I'm like, oh look, new shiny thing. I'm going to learn how to build a gate.
That's what happens. That's exactly. Oh yeah, the new shiny object. Oh yeah, and there's always something to do. There's always something, And I think what's really important is creating a big vision. So I don't know if you ever read 10x is easier than 2x from Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy.
No, I'll have to
So,
look into that more.
I'll tell you what. There's a trilogy series they did. It's the Gap in the Gain, the Who Not How, and then the 10x is easier than 2x. But the whole philosophy behind 10x is that when we so a lot of times we're looking, okay, I want to double my business. Well, pretty much to double your business, you got to put in twice as much work. Okay, when you want to 10x your business, now you've got to change your thinking. Okay. And now it becomes about scaling. And that'll blow your mind. So we kind of got on this, my coach and with all of his clients got on this, setting this 10x vision. So we started doing that. Then last year, it's like, okay, we got this 10x vision. Now, instead of this being a 10-year plan, let's make it a 3-year plan. And now you're going, Holy crap. Now what? But then your brain starts working on, how am I going to achieve this goal? And it's amazing. It's like, and so, every morning, I think one of the things, and this has been kind of revolutionary for me, is that first hour of the day. We call it the business owner athlete. So what does an athlete do before the game? They have their ritual, right? And what's that doing? That's they're getting their head and their body ready for the game. So they have their warm-ups that they do. And a lot of it's just, kind of making sure their footwork is. I'm a big tennis player, so I like watch what all these guys do. But then they're visualizing, they're picturing, they're asking themselves questions. Okay. And so we need to do this as business owners, taking that first hour of the day and really getting ready for the day. And I think asking yourself those questions. How am I going to hit this? How am I going to scale this thing to this 10x vision that I have and try to do it in 3 years, which seems impossible? But you keep asking yourself that question every morning, every morning, every morning. And it's amazing. All of a sudden, your subconscious mind starts giving you answers. It's the craziest thing, man. I'm telling you. And it's been revolutionary. I mean, this quarter has been 20 times as productive as all the quarters before that combined,
awesome.
because I started doing this process. But it's about stretching your vision and then repping it out so that your subconscious mind starts creating the pathways for you.
Like a vision board.
Yeah, in a sense,
Yeah.
but this is very tangible, tangible goals that you have. What revenue goals, GP goals. And the next question, this is what was interesting. So, like, we set these goals, and then the next question I ask myself is, why is this important to you? Because if you don't have something that's compelling, why it's important to you, you're not going to do it. So I set this goal, and then I had to ask myself, and I had to take a lot of time thinking about this. And I finally said, look, why is this important to me? My faith is the most important thing in my life, and money is a tool to provide greater impact to the world. So I want to build this kind of business. Why? So I can create greater impact in the world. And just money is kind of the tool that helps me to accomplish that. Now I've got a purpose that's much bigger than myself.
You find a lot of people think profit is a bad word,
Yes.
like a stigma, right? Like
Yeah.
they're like not allowed to make money.
No, I think it'd shock you how many business owners feel that way.
It's like goes back kind of ties back into like what we kind of started with. There is like not valuing yourself, not giving yourself a proper valuation,
Mm-hmm.
but beyond that, really ultimately thinking that you're just not allowed as a business owner to be profitable.
That's
Because
right.
you hear it over, and it's this stigma. So you use the stigma of like a dirty auto repair shop. Well, like I use the stigma of like a broke business owner, right?
Right.
If you own a business, you are supposed to just hustle hard, grind, and not make any money.
Yeah, I know.
It's like this negative connotation of like, well, that's what you signed up for,
That's
right?
right.
You get all the responsibility with no making money. And it's
Yep.
like no one gets pissed off enough about that, right?
Yeah.
And I mean I'm hot headed, so I try not to think about it too much, but it does it does get under my skin sometimes where it's like I'm not making the money I feel like I'm justified to, whereas I could make more than that working for somebody with my talent skills, right? And not
Right.
to like give myself a pat on the back, but it's like I understand. I've gone through a lot of technicians, I've gone through a lot of bodies in my business, and I
Right.
know what the talent pool is, and I know that I'm better than that. And then I know what I pay them. So it's like I know that I could make more anywhere I
Right.
go. And I love the fact that everybody makes more than me here. That's what I wanted. That's what I'm trying to build. But it does get frustrating when I see a negative net number and I'm pulling money out of the savings,
Mm-hmm.
and I know it's going to come back. Like I know the next month we'll do a 25 or 30% net,
Yeah.
and like it'll all come back. It's just ebb and flow, but it is frustrating in that time where it's like, man, like I hope nothing bad happens because we're getting a little tight right now. But
Oh
also
yeah.
like, how do I fix this so that this doesn't keep happening, right? And then not getting frustrated, but also coming to the realization of like I have to be profitable. And it's just
Yeah.
like you said, like if I'm not profitable, I can't provide a good paycheck to all my guys.
That's
I
right.
can't provide warranty claims to my clients that live in the town that I do, all my, everyone around me. So I like money is it. Like
Yeah.
and the customer is number one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people say employees are number one or always take care of your people. It's like, well, the customers take care of my employees
Right.
because that's where the money comes from.
Yeah.
So I understand the thought of like, yeah, of course, my team is always like the most important to me personally, but
Mm-hmm.
like to the business, the customer is always number one.
I
Like
get
that,
it.
because the money comes
Yeah.
out of their pocket and it goes into their pocket. And I'm just
Ah.
like, I kind of like throw it in between, right?
Oh,
And
exactly.
so it's like that, having that mindset of like, and not like I'm trying to get every dollar out of every person, but like looking at every customer that comes in is like, wow, this one person right here provides a life for every one of my employees here, for
Yeah.
my kid, for my wife, for everything I want, for the business. And I
Right.
think that in the last 6 months has been such a huge change for me because
Okay. Yeah.
I was so stuck in the business of like
Mm-hmm.
day to day grind, taking a step back every once in a while, the 30,000 foot view. Okay, where's everything at? Learning the numbers, learning everything, and I'm just like it's like this big. I'm just like my head's down and I'm doing my thing, doing my thing, doing my thing.
Yeah.
And then the customers started becoming a problem to me, right? Because they
Yeah.
started taking my time, right?
Right.
Right, I
Right.
have all these things to do, and I got to go talk to this person, or I got to go do this. I got to deal
Yeah.
with this person, and then as the business owner, you only deal with the upset customers, right?
Right.
Like
I know.
and so all I saw was people coming in, they want to take my time, they're upset about something again, like now what is it? Now I gotta write a new SOP, now I gotta write a new policy. It's like so every time so customers begin this like this negative thought pattern in my brain, and it's just about 6 months ago I did this coaching seminar out in Houston, Texas, and it like completely changed the way I viewed the customer. And I
Uh-huh.
realized, and it just I don't know. It sounds simple and silly when I say it out loud like this, but it's
All
like
right.
the customer pays for everything.
Yep.
So when someone walks in your door, like why aren't you just running up to them with open arms and just like thanking them,
Yeah.
shaking their hand, hey, and just introducing yourself? Can I show you around, man? I'm so excited. Why aren't you excited? This remember the first day you opened, the very first customer? How come you're not
Yeah.
like that with every single customer now? And it's like, I don't know why I'm not. I mean, yeah, I remember when I first opened, I was like the first guy that came through the doors. I was like, I would have done anything for him, right?
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly.
And now I'm irritated when the phone rings. It's like, and so in the last 6 months, it's completely changed my mindset, and
That's
that
great.
has almost doubled our sales.
Yeah.
Right? It's crazy, and it's all mindset.
That's the bottom line. I think it all comes down to is that, we've got to have the proper mindset in no matter what we go into. And that's what's going to change. It's not getting more certifications. It's not getting all this training. It's about what's between the 6 inches between our ears. And the more we can change that, I think the farther we're going to progress.
Yeah,
So,
the shiny object, like getting all these new programs and getting candy and sending them out newsletters and postcards, and that's all well and good, but that should be on the back end of
yeah,
why you're like just provide a really good customer experience,
that's
and that's
the
just like
bottom
goes
line.
across all the businesses, right? Like don't be like every other phone, and auto shops are the worst, man.
Uh-huh.
You should call a few auto shops in your area and see how they answer their phone, right?
Oh, I know. Oh,
Hey, can I
yeah.
help you? Yeah. Well, hey, this is Billy Bob. Hey, I got a noise with my brakes. I was wondering if I get my brakes. I get you in about 2 weeks. I'm like 2 weeks out. Like, and it's like this badge of honor.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
and the one thing about body shops is, maybe they do, but I know in mechanical, it's like a badge of honor to just announce how busy you are.
Yes, yes, it's
I
yeah.
can't get you in for 2 weeks. Oh,
Right,
can
right.
I drop it off? Well, my parking lot's pretty full, and I'm telling you right now, I can't see it for at least 2 weeks. It's like, man, and we've changed our completely 180.
That's great.
Absolutely is now a good time. We'd love to have your vehicle in right now.
Yeah.
And then they get there, and then we can explain to them, hey, let me show you around. And just so you know, we got about 3 days of work, but we'll get you in as soon as possible. And they're like, perfect, thanks. That's all I wanted. Like,
That's
and
all they want to know.
but you can apply that to any other business. It doesn't matter if you're HVAC or plumbing or
Yep.
even if you're consulting or whatever it is. Answer the phone with a smile,
Mhm.
say hello, how can I help you, and then just say yes.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Why
Make
are we
me
so
feel
scared to say
important.
yes?
What Dale Nargin at Carnegie said, everybody's got a plaque on their head. Make me feel important.
Oh, Dale Carnegie. Yep, I read that one. That's a good one.
Yeah,
And then he's
exactly.
got a good podcast too. I like all the stuff on that one.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah,
So, hey Jimmy, we are at time or actually
that's it, man.
overtime. So,
Yeah,
hey, this has been a blast. We got to need to do this again too.
yeah.
Okay.
I love it.
Hey, listen, appreciate you being on. Last thanks goes to you, the audience. Thank you for listening to Your Business, Your Life with me, Matt DiFrancesco. And if you're not subscribed to the podcast, please click the subscribe button below. That way, when a new episode drops, you'll get to hear all the great guests like Jimmy that we had. This was so much fun, just kind of chit chatting here. We really didn't even have an agenda, just kind of decided, let's just start talking. So hopefully you got
awesome
something
time,
out
man.
of it. Yeah, exactly. And if you're listening, no matter on Spotify, on iTunes, on YouTube, if you like what you're hearing, please give us a 5-star review. That way we move up the charts. And so with that, again, Jimmy, thank you for being on Your Business, Your Life. And thank you to the audience. Take care and God bless. Hey, I really want to thank you for listening to the Your Business, Your Life podcast. If you want to be notified when new episodes become available, click the subscribe button below.
All information is obtained from sources deemed reliable but not guaranteed. No tax or legal advice is given nor intended. Content provided herein or on our website should not be construed as an offer for investment advice or for securities, insurance, or other investment products. Investments involve the risk of loss and are not guaranteed. Consult a qualified legal, tax, accounting, or financial professional before implementing any investments or strategy discussed here. HighLift Financial is a DBA for DiFrancesco Financial Concierge, LLC. Investment advisory services are provided through Cornerstone Planning Group, LLC, an independent advisory firm registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission.